Nationwide, rent prices just posted their first real slowdown since the pandemic boom. Here in the Inland Empire, most of our cities are still on the upswing. I'm going to tell you why and which stat you should focus on going forward. Hi, I'm Brian Bean with Dream Big Property Management here in Riverside, California. We help people just like you become intentional rental property investors. A report released this month shows the median rent dropped 1.6% nationally compared with a year ago. That's the first real national rent decline since the pandemic boom 6 years ago. Nearly half of all markets in the country saw rents go down. Why? Well, the report points to a variety of reasons. More apartments getting built, more build-to-rent communities, more landlords offering move-in concessions, a wave of accidental landlords, homeowners who couldn't sell, so they rented their places out instead, and of course, affordability after a decade plus of rent price increases. All of that and more contributed to an increase in the supply of housing and a decrease in the demand from prospective renters. Those two factors, supply and demand, will always be the ultimate driving force. But here's the thing, those factors vary from region to region, from state to state, city to city, even neighborhood to neighborhood, because real estate is local and the supply and demand can be vastly different even a block away from another house. So although the national figures finally tipped into the negative as a whole, that's not the story in Southern California. Here in the Inland Empire, most of our cities are still experiencing rent price growth. Chino Hills, for example, posted an 8% increase over the past 2 years. Menifee, San Bernardino, Moreno Valley, Corona also posted solid gains. A handful of cities did dip slightly, Chino, Temecula, Murrieta, Victorville, by 1 to 3% since June 2024, fairly flat overall. So rents here continue to be more stable than almost anywhere else in the country. The question is, where will they go from here? The national report from Rentometer provides data on 3-bedroom, single-family homes in more than 1,000 cities across the country, but it doesn't get into the real causes and early indicators for each city. We pulled city and county data from CRMLS, that's our local MLS, to get a better picture of the local market. How many rental homes were available? How many were actually leased? How long did they sit on the market? And what did they ultimately rent for? Countywide, rents were mostly flat. City by city, though, we found some big swings. By the way, we'll include links in the show notes to the reports. So we looked back 2 years in the Inland Empire, and here's what we found. In June 2025, the number of available rental homes in Riverside and San Bernardino counties actually jumped up from the previous years. More inventory hit the market. And a year later, we saw the consequences. Homes taking longer to lease, rent prices actually declining slightly. That's economics 101, by the way. Supply and demand determine price and speed to lease. Prices are the lagging indicator of what got us there. Available inventory versus the number of applicants affects how fast or slow a home leases, and those are the leading indicators that tell us where the market is headed in the short term. So half the cities in the Inland Empire appears poised for price reductions, and half are likely to keep right on climbing. Like Riverside, Moreno Valley, San Bernardino, Redlands, and Chino Hills, hot markets which in the past 2 years saw rents rise and lease faster. And most probably in Chino, Temecula, and Murrieta, where days on market in June this year are down as much as 33% from 2 years ago. With rents close to flat in the past year for those cities, they're poised for a run. But in some cities, increasing inventory and decreasing demand points more toward rent price reductions going forward. Cities like Ontario, Lake Elsinore, Victorville, Fontana, and Hemet have seen days on market balloon by as much as 76% the past 2 years. Even Corona and Menifee, which have seen strong price gains, may have hit a tipping point as days on market are up 19 to 28%. So what does this mean for you as a property owner? If you're in a city with rising rents and fast leasing, that's good news, but it's not a green light to push rent as high as possible. If you're in a market where days on market is climbing, that's an early signal worth paying attention to, well before it shows up in your actual rent numbers anyway. But really, conditions can change pretty quickly. And in an economic environment where affordability is an all-time low, vacancy is the biggest threat to profitability, which means resident retention and lease renewals win the day. If you have questions about your local rental market or anything related to the right and profitable way to run your rental property, call me directly, 951-314-5402. I'm happy to share. You can also find valuable information on our website, dreambigpm.com. And if you found this info useful, we have more. Check it out. Punch that subscribe button, leave us a review. It helps others find us and will alert you when new episodes are posted. Don't be accidental about your future, be intentional to your success.